And we're going to kneel quite a bit at the beginning. So if you have a cushion and, you know, if your knees aren't strong or they feel uncomfortable sometimes, a very low cushion though, don't have something that's too puffy. Or the other thing you can do is remember, just fold your mat over and use that as an extra bit of padding. Especially if you're on a hard floor like I am, it can feel quite hard at times. Or the other option is to sit in a different position and not do the kneeling, but give it a try. If it's just you being a little bit, or your mind being a bit reticent. What am I getting here? Oh, I was going to get the bricks and say, you can also sit on the bricks here while we do the breath practice. If you find the kneeling's too strong for you, sit on the bricks and it'll just lift you up and take the pressure off your knees and off the front of your ankles a little bit, because opening the front of your ankles isn't easy for everybody. Otherwise, come to kneeling. So this morning we're talking about giving and receiving. Great thing at this time of year, we're all thinking of giving and receiving, rushing around buying presents for everybody. So think of yourself here this morning on the mat and the giving and receiving and how it relates to you particularly, and what you're getting from what we're doing here. So we're going to start with the Ujjayi breath, because that's one of the best ones to have in your pocket for these sort of times when it gets really busy, hectic, and we need to work out whether we need to release energy and let steam off, in other words, maybe, or get rid of some staleness that's come in, or whether we need to receive that extra boost just to keep us going. So closing eyes and just feeling what your energy is like this morning. Probably quite calm because you've just got up and nothing's really impacted on it yet, apart from me possibly. But just ask yourself how your energy is feeling. Do you need to give energy and release it, or do you need to receive a little bit more to get on with the day? So then start to control your breath. Just gently opening up all the channel right down through you there. The 3 parts that we worked on last week. Remember, it's not just in and out, it's all round the body as well. So start to inhale right down through to your belly, but remember the front, back and sides as you do so. Not forcing, just drawing the breath into you. And then releasing, we're thinking of gently moving from the belly upwards, releasing the breath out. Think of that balloon again. Actually, that was downwards we did it, didn't we? So think of releasing the breath slowly, not in one big puff, because that won't help. And then find your Ujjayi breath, that spot at the back of your throat. So if you went, that's the sort of noise you're making, remember? So it's that little glottal thing at the back of your throat. You're closing it off gently and making it sound like an ocean, like the waves as you draw the breath in and out. You possibly get it more on the out breath, you can hear it. So we're breathing through our nose here, not through our mouth. If your nose is stuffed though, please use your mouth. Once you've started to realise that the noise you're supposed to make in the back of your throat and connect with it, then start to make it a little bit stronger. So draw the breath in a little bit stronger. And then gently expel the breath, just slowly, but with a little bit more noise to that Ujjayi breath. Build it up a little bit till it's quite loud, so that if I was at the opposite side of the room even, I might hear you. If we were the only people in the room, I might hear that breath. So that is a strong Ujjayi breath. That's where you're receiving and releasing the most, giving and receiving the most energy. So it maybe you can feel it's what you probably do in an agitated state. When somebody's or something has irritated you, you might release the breath like that and breathe in like that. So then take the breath down a little bit to sort of middle level. So This is probably the most balanced level. So where, if I was sitting beside you, I would hear this breath. And this is the one to remember that will balance you throughout the season when you need it. The other one's okay, but if you use it too much, you'll hyperventilate. So this one is where you bring yourself down a little bit from that state of agitation. Or you draw in a little bit more energy without flooding yourself with too much of the chaos that's going on round about you. And then take the breath down to the quietest of the Ujjayi breaths you can make it. So if I was sitting beside you, I'd hardly hear the noise that you're making, but you can hear it in your head. You can feel it in your jaw. You can feel it going down through your throat and into your chest, perhaps. But it's very quiet. And this is obviously therefore the most calming way of using the Ujjayi breath. So when you get 5 minutes to yourself and things are all going a bit mad in the other room or whatever, or you're at the shops and you get 5 minutes in the car, take this breath to just cool down, calm down, release whatever energy you've taken in from outside that you don't need. Give it back. And the other thing we can remember is we can use the pause or we can elongate. So we'll elongate this breath at the end of the practice. Let's just use the pause if you want to. For a couple of breaths, just play with inhaling, pausing for 2, and then exhaling for 4. So it's in 4, pause for 2, exhale for 4. It's not holding and grabbing the breath inside you. It's just taking what you can for that in breath and then releasing as you give the breath back. So the kumbhaka at this point of the inhale, the retention is when you need to hold that good energy in you for a little moment more, and then you can release it. So this is when you need to up your energy. And then start to play around with the other retention if you want to. If you want to just stick with your own Ujjayi, then fine. Otherwise, it's in for 4, exhale for 4, and then pause for 2 after you've exhaled. Can feel a little bit panicky, that for some people. Try not to panic. Try to just find that space that you've made yourself. And knowing that the inhale will come. Whenever you're ready, it will come. So you're not going to starve yourself of oxygen or anything. So inhale for 4, exhale for 4, and then just pause for 2. And that pause is the one you'll need possibly on a retention breath, just to down, to bring yourself down from too high a state of energy, maybe in the kitchen when you're cooking, for instance. Just stop and try that one when you get a little bit heated in the kitchen over Christmas. Okay, so then release the breath and just keep your eyes closed and notice if there's been any energetic change. Maybe you just feel more connected to your own energy. Maybe you can now sense how your energy is. We're going to come off our kneeling just for a second, just to release our feet. So bring yourself into cat-cow. So bring yourself rather into tabletop. And don't do cat-cow quite yet. Just pat your feet out. So releasing the energy from that point of your ankles that probably feel a bit pressure now, having sat where you were. So just give them a bit of a slap, your feet. Have a little wiggle through your ankles. And if you feel you're able to, we are going to be going up and down on our knees here. If it's not for you, sit on your bottom in Dandasana or in Sukhasana, and you can take the arm movements without that. So coming into kneeling again when you're ready. And then finding our Anjali Mudra, hands together in prayer hands, our gratitude seal. Bringing the thumbs towards your heart and your heart lifting and coming towards your thumbs so that you feel your shoulders draw back a little bit. And draw your tummy in. What you don't then do, what I do, is go into a curly C shape. Draw the tummy back, tuck that bottom slightly, and draw the chin back at the same time and lengthen through the back of the neck. Okay, so thinking of a very upper body cat-cow and coming up and down if you want to, or sitting still. So when you're ready, we're going to find that breath again. We're going to inhale up. Just take it up to extension first of all and exhale down. And that was just a trial one. So this one, coming up and seeing if you can move your heart forward just a little bit towards your hands and come into a little bit of a back bend in the cow shape. And then coming back down on the exhale, we're going to roll the chin down, roll just the shoulders, the upper back, and into your cat shape. Inhaling up, finding that little back bend, just drawing the hips forward, drawing the tummy in, sitting back down on the exhale, and rolling forward into our cat shape. So you might go a little bit further each time, might find a little bit more of an extension and a back bend there at the top. You might find a little bit more of a roll forward at the bottom. You can move your lower back here, but just be aware, don't put too much pressure through it. Hold the tummy in a little bit, squeeze the glutes a little bit, just give it some support. And then sit back on the heels. Next one's a bit further than that. We're going to come right down to the floor. You can pop your hands there then and in a sort of bowing shape. So if again that's not for you, stay up a little bit higher. Okay, so this time we're coming up and you can take your hands up with you if you'd like to extend them. Decide if you want to receive here a little bit more energy or if you want to just give the energy back by not using your hands quite so much. So then rolling down into quite a curly forward shape, using your hands on the floor if you need the support, rolling back up, taking the hands above you, having a bit more of an extended back bend there if you're taking the hands with you. If you're not taking the hands, you can have them on your waist if you want to, or you can have them in Ujjayi mudra. Use them on the floor if you need that support. Remember, take one more of each, inhaling up. Just watch the lower back here. Remember, you keep your tummy engaged to support that lower back. You keep your glutes engaged as we go up. Release them as you come down. Going back up to neutral and sit down on your heels. Moving forward now into child's pose. So you're releasing a little bit off the ankles there. So coming down into child's pose, and we're going to take side bends here. So you can keep your head off the floor. Extend the arms in front of you. Keep that bottom sitting back onto your heels. Draw the tummy in a little bit more and you might find you can go down a little bit more with your hips. When you're ready, walking over to the right hand side, or whichever side you want to, not saying you have to. Coming into an extension on that side through the left hand side of my body here. And just holding and breathing. So the hip might have lifted a little bit on the left hand side. See if you can draw that back down. You'll feel a bit more of an extension through your waist that way. So if the hip gives here, you'll receive a better stretch. And then walking across back into neutral before you move. Still extended over to the other side and have a nice stretch out on the other side. Might be completely different here. Sometimes the energy gets stuck and that's when we feel tense and tight. So see if you can release it using your exhale if you're finding it particularly tight in any part of your body. The exhale lets you give. And then walking back to neutral. And walking back up to your knees. I'm going to take some side bends now. So again, you can stay down, you can sit in Sukhasana, whatever, or you can come up with me. So inhaling left arm up first of all. Again, you don't need to take the arms up. You might just want to side bend with your hands at your waist. Left armpit to hip on the other side. Inhale back up, exhale back down. So you can do this just with the arms at the waist if you don't want to take the arm above the head. Inhale up, exhale over. It's about deciding what you need rather than what I'm telling you. And that's something you're all pretty good at now, I'm quite sure, at knowing your own energy and your own level. And it might be different today than it is on any other day, but you have to listen to your body. It's a phrase that everybody gets upset at, but it's very true. You must listen to your body. This one, let's go up. Again, hands at the waist if you want to. And we're going to side bend, and then we're going to roll that top shoulder back and open up a little bit more, giving a little bit more on that side, holding and pausing just for a couple of breaths here. Squeezing the glutes, watch that tummy. The next inhale, roll forward again, and then sit back down. Same thing, other side. Notice the difference in the energy in the two sides. So inhale up, exhale over. Using your feet and your knees to help propel you here, like you would your feet if you were standing. Exhale down. Inhale up, we'll take two more and then we'll take a third one and roll. So we know where we're going now. Preparation we're back to from last week. A lot easier when we know what we're doing. Second side usually tends to be easier. So we do it much more relaxed state often, the second side in yoga, because we know what we're going to be doing, and it just allows you to give a little bit more to the pose. Next one, I think we're rolling. Inhale up. I might be doing it at a different speed than you. Don't worry about that. Obviously, it's my breath. Exhale over because I'm talking and not breathing. Rolling open and holding, pausing just for a couple of breaths here. Watch that lower half. Make sure it's stable. You've got the steerer there. But still with a little bit of give. Inhale, roll forward. Exhale, roll down. Sorry, I should have rolled it up first, shouldn't I? Okay. Back down at the bottom. So we're coming up now to kneeling again and on our knees. But if you want to tuck your toes here and take the release your ankles a little bit, it will open your feet as well. So you can do that. We're just taking a couple of breaths in a more static pose. This is like a preparation for camel, but we're not actually doing camel today, but it's very like it. So on your toes and then coming up onto your knees if it's comfortable for you. So it's more about the upper body here, but think about the lower half, what you want to do here. Okay, so thinking of the tummy tucking and the bottom squeezing forward so that you really feel this part of you here, your hip flexors, is opening and connecting. They're stretching and opening to lengthen right down to your knees, and from sort of up your waist area, you should feel length there then. Okay, so then just taking your arms one at a time behind you and placing the heel of your hand on the top of your glutes, so just about your waist height. So both hands are now on the back of you, fingers facing down. Watch that hasn't initially made you do that and duck back. So draw the tummy back in and take your pelvic tilt by squeezing your glutes. Okay, the hands on the back of the body, walk them as close to the centre of your body, pardon me, as you can. So that's a real shoulder opener. So as you do that, think of opening up the front of each collarbone. So draw that shoulder back and open each collarbone here. And then think of moving your elbows a little bit closer together if you can. So watch the rest of you, make sure that bottom half hasn't changed position. Draw your chin back, lengthen through the back of the neck. And then just hold and breathe. Close your eyes if you can. It's quite a static holding position. Nothing's feeling terribly flexible. But see if you can find in the breath to give a little bit. So that you're not letting go of anything completely, but you're just feeling everything soften a little bit. And as you soften, you might then find you can actually draw your shoulder blades together a little bit closer in the back of your body. You might find you get a bit more expansion across your chest. You might find that you actually lengthen through the hip flexors down to your knees. And don't forget to use the breath just to stay in the moment. And then release slowly and sit back on the bottom. Undo the feet. Coming back down into child's pose. So on your elbows this time, we're going to go into puppy pose. So keep the head off the floor, sorry. So child's pose, bottoms back. You want to walk your elbows forward until your hips are over your knees. And then that might be enough for you just to cross your hands and pop your head there. That might be enough for you this morning. If you want to go into puppy pose with me, then walk the elbows forward then so that the body lengthens, but the hips stay back over the knees. And depending on where you get to, again, you can cross your hands and just pop your head in your arms, or you can take your head down to the floor and extend the hands a little bit more so that you feel you've got a nice big opening sensation on the back of the body there. Keep the tummy engaged, everybody. And then those of you that can and are able to, then draw the heart down a little bit more towards the floor. So you go into a back bend here, the same position you were just in, kneeling. So you're in a back bend. If you want to tuck your toes here, you can even go into tuck toes in this position. So I'm on my chin. That has to be done carefully so you don't crack the back of your neck. So otherwise you're on your forehead, which can be quite pressured. It's all the weight's coming down towards that area. So be careful of necks here, etc. Heart is moving downwards. It's melting heart in America, this is called. So you can move your heart downwards. And see if you can then find 2 breaths more and just give a little bit more to this pose on the exhale. Big back opener, wherever you've got to, well done. And if you can go a little bit further next time, that's what we're saying. It's not about where you get to really, it's about what you feel when you're there. Okay, so then carefully, if you're in extended arms, bring your hands under first of all, and use them just to help you lift up, back up. Sit back down, everybody into child's pose. Bring your toes together into wide leg child's pose. Take the elbows just to the floor. Let the head relax down onto the floor or onto your hands. And just take a few breaths there, releasing the back of the body. So counter posing. We've done a lot of we know what a counter pose is. You've just done a very big extension on the back of the body into a back bend in puppy pose. We're now going in the opposite direction with the spine. But the point of that is not to force yourself into one direction then the other. The counter pose is to release. So this pose here that we're now doing, we don't want to feel we're rounding up and forcing ourselves into that forward fold. We want to feel it's just allowing the spine to reset. If you give all the time, you'll end up with no money and you'll be exhausted. You have to receive and give equally and to try and find that balance between the two. Okay, so then gently open your eyes, walk back up, come back up to kneeling. Last thing, kneeling, we're just going to take a couple of twists. So inhale and bring yourself up, exhale there. We're going to inhale tall, through from the knees to the crown, and just allow yourself to go into a very gentle twist. Allow the shoulder, the back shoulder, just to lead you. Maybe the nose goes with it. And just come into the twist wherever you're most comfortable. Don't force it. Watch your knees. Just gently opening up through the spine in a different direction. And breathe. And then bring yourself back to the front. Take a couple of breaths there, and then inhale when you're ready, tall, exhale, round. Not too much about the breath here, just thinking of breathing comfortably. As you pause in this position, taking the spine, as I say, into a different direction and different movement, different function. Here comes the rain again. And then bring yourself forward. Sit back down onto your knees, come back into child's pose. Just take a bit of a stretch here and in an extended child's pose. And then come up onto your knees. From there, you should roll straight up into tabletop. Then we're going to take 2 or 3 cat-cows here in your own time. You decide if you want to go dynamically, but do remember everybody, tuck that tummy, support the lower back. So remember the exhale is for cat and the inhale is for cow. And feel your spine rippling through. Give it a little bit of a massage here. So moving from the tailbone, remember, as we move through into both positions. Never crunching the neck, keeping that tummy a little bit engaged. Seeing if you can use hands and feet and knees in a sort of measured pressure. So it's not just your left knee that's taking all the movement. Use it as a balanced pose. And then release back to kneeling and bring your bricks in, everybody. We're going to take Malasana, Garland Pose, which we did last week. Everybody use the bricks because sometimes you just need to use your bricks and have a little bit of support. So your bricks have got to be at an angle so that your feet can be facing more outwards and you're up on your heel. So I know some of us are very good at this, feet flat on the floor, but there's some times that you don't need to take full poses. It's sometimes better to just release into a supported pose because you'll find the other parts of the body that get a little bit tense don't tense up then. You get the chance to allow everything to settle into a sort of balanced pose. So thinking here of tucking the bottom under, tucking the tummy, just above your elbows to just above your thighs, and use that just to gently open your legs a little bit more if you can. Thinking of the tummy's tucked, but then moving the chest forward a little bit so that you're not quite feeling completely vertical, but you're lengthening through the front of your body. And then find anything that you need to gain from this. You might want to say the mantra receive on the in-breath here. That's quite a nice way to use these mantras. So receive the energy as you breathe in. Think of the word receive. And then you might find that on the exhale you just release a little bit. Maybe you want to use the release the give mantra on the exhale. Take 2 or 3 breaths, maybe try and whichever mantra you find works for you this morning. Might be you need to receive more energy. And it might be that the balance is what you need by using both words. The mantra just connects to the mind more and helps us to really focus on what we're doing. And then hands to the floor, everybody carefully take your bricks out from under your heels. Bring them in front of you now. We're going to come up to a wide leg forward fold. So using your hands on the bricks to just gently push you up and open up through your legs there. The wider the legs, the easier this is. Your feet are now facing forwards or slightly pigeon-toed. And your knees can be really soft here. You don't need to lock the knees and straighten the legs. It's more about rolling the bottom up and allowing the pelvis to tip the body out of it. So if the bricks are meaning that you're not quite getting that ability to come down towards the floor, don't worry. Just see if you can then open your legs up a little bit more. Work in another part of the body. Release the shoulders forwards. Roll the head to look between your legs. Soften the knees if you need to. Keep that tummy engaged. See if you can just pour out a little bit more out of your pelvis. Watch your toes aren't getting involved. And then take a few breaths using the mantra give on your exhale. Soften your elbows, everything's softening now. The neck is loosening round the back of your neck, you're letting your head hang. Inversion though, so please be careful, anybody that isn't happy with this, please, I hope you've already realised and taken yourself down to the floor. Okay, so coming out of this, everybody open their eyes, look along the floor, gently press into the hands, bring yourself up into a kind of wide-legged tabletop version. And then walk your feet one at a time back to centre, keep the knees really soft, you're now in a forward fold. And we're going to take the hands back one at a time onto the shins, either roll up or sweep up, whichever you'd rather. So inhaling then, gently opening the eyes, looking along the floor, coming back up to the top. You've swept up like me, and then releasing the hands back down. Okay, so we're going to move on to golden seed now, which is quite a gentle energy flow. Let's try and do it a little bit more, less cuey than I normally do. You all know this one. You only need one brick if you're going to use a brick under your face. If you're not, just move the bricks out the way. But remember, this is all about moving ankles and legs. Don't stand statically. And if you lose what I'm doing, just catch up. Okay. So let's do it a little bit more flowy, and but still with that idea that we're giving energy here as well. We're not taking it all by doing it all forcefully. Okay. Moving the energy around is the connection. In Chinese tradition, Qi is moved around. It's their energy, like prana. So inhale, feet hip distance apart to start with. Inhaling, arms come above the head. Flip the fingers together, exhale, turn the palms, release the energy down. Inhale, gather the energy in the palms, take it upwards. Feel the weight of that air through the gravity on your hands. Exhale, take the energy down. Feel the slight pressure you have to move through the atmosphere. Take one more. Moving that energy with your hands as you move them up and down. This time we're going to cross our hands and we're coming out into goddess. So take the foot out, then I'm going right side, turn the feet out, move the hands out, push that energy away from you, come down into goddess. Still in that position, just straighten the legs, take the arms up, come into 5-star, have a big stretch. Soften back down on the next exhale, come back into goddess, push the energy away from you again. Inhale up into 5-star. Turn the feet forward. We're going to release here into a long forward fold, so gently soften the knees if you need to, anybody. Gently moving down towards the floor. Coming into bird, so right hand I've got under my face. Inhaling, taking the arm up behind you, the opposite arm. Exhaling that arm down. Left hand on the floor under your face. So you've got quite a long body here. You shouldn't feel too curled up over your hand. One more of each. Take the left hand up. Let your right knee soften as your left arm goes up and vice versa. So it's not both legs are straight and holding here. It's very flowy. Other arm up. Gather that energy in the palms of your hands as your knees are bent. We're going to then push through the feet, draw that energy back up. Rotate the wrists so that your hands then give the energy back up above your head, and then release the hands down. And then we're coming into bird or bowling ball, remember. So taking the arms up above the head in an extension, and then softening the knees, rolling through the knees and letting the knees then open again as the hands come up behind you or through your legs. So there's a rolling movement through those knees that were quite static at the beginning. So quite a lot of knee stuff this morning, isn't it? Taking one more. Coming back up to the top. hands above the head, bring the arms down, soften the knees, gather that energy at the bottom again in the hands, take the energy back up above your face, rotate the wrists, take the energy, give it out, and then turn the palms and draw that energy, feel the pressure as you draw that energy back down and draw it back into you, to your tummy. Step the feet together rather, and then take a breath, and we'll go the other side now. So inhale, arms up above the head. We'll just take one, and then the next one will go into goddess. Exhale, gather that energy downward, or press the energy downwards away from you. Inhale, take the energy upwards. Cross the arms, turn the feet out, come into your goddess feet. Push the energy away from you. If you go off the breath, don't worry on this one. But you'd be inhaling up then into 5-star, having a big stretch out. Exhaling, press the energy away from you again. Give the energy back, release. One more 5-star. And then turn the feet forward. We're folding forward. Gently softening the knees. Hands can be at the waist here, remember. Left hand comes under your face this time. Inhaling, rotating and opening. Let that back knee soften, or either knee, whichever you want to soften, but make it flowy. Other side. One more on each side in the twist here. Taking it slowly balances your energy. If you do this too quickly, you're not really doing it properly because you're not moving the energy gently. Gather that energy up then at the bottom, lift it up above you. And then take it down to the sides. We're going into bird or bowling ball now. So gather then the energy up and then softening at the knees, rolling down through the hips, let everything flow here. As you come into a little bit of a wide leg forward fold again. Inhale up. One more. Don't need to do the hands. Remember, they can be at your waist here. One more up to the top. Then we're folding back down again, softening the knees, coming down, gathering that energy, moving it back up past us, giving energy back, and then gathering it in the palm of our hands and drawing energy back into us. Can go to your heart here, can go to your tummy, wherever you feel you need it. And hold and breathe. Step your feet back together and just come into Tadasana for a minute. Can you feel that energy moving around you now? So we're going to roll down now and come back down to the floor to finish. So take your time, come down slowly when you're ready. Coming down to the floor and sitting on your bottom first of all in Dandasana. So staff pose. Take the right hand behind you, then the left hand behind you. Turn the fingers backwards as much as you can. They can face out to the side. If you can't quite get round there, don't worry. Take them out a little bit more to the side. But thinking of drawing the shoulder blades together and the heart forward. We're just going to go into a little back bend here. So pressing gently into the sit bones, lift the heart up. Draw the chin in to hold the heavy head. And open the collarbones as much as you can, like we did at the beginning. Drawing back and then release on the exhale. So we're inhaling up and exhaling down. Maybe you can point your feet as you roll up and open. And then exhaling, draw the toes back towards you as you come back into neutral. Take one more. And roll back down. And then come down onto your back. You'll need a couple of bricks maybe near you, so have them near you in a minute. So come down onto your back then when you're ready. Come in, ready for bridge. So heels as close to the bottom as you can, feet on the floor, knees at hip distance. Excuse me. And then we're going to just take a couple of bridge rolls. So do these in your own time. But before we do, remember to think of the tummy in the bottom and that little pelvic tilt, which we do before we move up. So I'll do the first one with you in the breath, and you can take your arms into it if you want to, or you can just stay on the floor with your hands and just use your body here. So when you're ready, we breathe in neutral here. We breathe out and we pelvic tilt. So draw that bottom up, nothing else moving, just the pelvic tilt. Then when that's engaged, we breathe in and move through the feet and begin to roll up. And opening up gently into that back bendy shape that we've been doing a lot of this morning. And then releasing on the exhale back down to the floor. So again, maybe you can use the mantra here, receive and give. So I would do receive as I opened up and inhale. And give as you gently allow the spine to go back down to the floor. Give yourself back to the mat. For those of you using arms as well, remember they move. The breath starts, then the arms start to move. They don't lead. And then release back to the floor. Take your right knee into your chest and your left knee into your chest. Just have a little rock and roll here. And then place your feet back on the floor. A little bit wider than hip distance, and just have a little windscreen wiper there. It doesn't need to be fully over, just rocking through the hips to release a little bit. And then we're going to come up into fish now. So I'm going to show you fish, but you can do it supported. Actually, it might be better if we all do supported to start, and then you can decide when you want to go full fish to finish, but it's a big pose. So supported, one brick, just, sorry Gary, but just at the bottom of your bra line. You've got that brick there. So you've got the brick, and so it puts you into that same shape that we've been doing, that back bend. Don't have it too high. You want to have that feeling that your shoulders are going downwards towards the floor. And then you can either use the other brick under your head if you need it, or you can take your head back to the floor and just release your arms to the side. I've got my brick on the very low side. I would suggest everybody does. And so you can just stay here, maybe turn your palms upwards, let the shoulders open a little bit more across the chest. And you can just stay here and breathe for a few breaths, giving and receiving on the mantra if you want to. Let the ankles flop out. If you feel that's too strong for you, you can bring your feet into the and your knees in again, so as if you were going into bridge. And that might just release if you're feeling it too strongly. Or you can take your feet into Utkata Konasana, feet together. So you might want to just stay here and give yourself to this, because this is the end of the practice. Those of you that are still up for it and want to get on with things and maybe want a bit more energy can take yourself off the brick carefully and come into fish without the support. So you're coming up onto your elbows then. You might still need a brick for behind you for your head here, because you don't want to be breaking your neck. So you can put the brick there ready if you need it. Maybe on a taller side this time. And you can have your feet bent in this if you want to, and try this. You're tucking your hands under your bottom, but this time it's the back of your hands that's against your body and your fingers are pointing downwards and your elbows are coming in again and opening up just like when we practiced earlier. And then you're lifting up through the heart and allowing the head to come back. So the head might reach the floor, or you might take it onto a brick. Whatever height you find is comfortable for you. And you can take your legs away and point the feet out and open up the ankles. So lifting up through the heart, using the elbows to propel you forward. Watch that you're not crunching the back of the neck, remember, and watch that the tummy doesn't dome. So draw that tummy in. And now you wish you'd stayed with supported maybe. You can always go back to it. We're all coming off it in a minute anyway, so just breathe. 2 or 3 breaths here. And this, going from one supported pose to the full pose, shows you that you can receive on the mat and you can give. which way you look at the giving and receiving, this might be you receiving energy, and giving might be the supportive version, or you might think you receive the benefits from the supportive version. So just wordplay, really. Okay, so everybody coming carefully out of whatever position you're in, taking the brick away from your back and just coming down onto the mat, into Sukhasana. Not Sukhasana, sorry, into Shavasana. Letting the feet fall out, tucking the shoulders under slightly, letting the palms face upwards, about 30 degrees, they always used to say, away from your body. I'm not a degree person, I never quite knew what that meant, but. And then maybe just having a little roll through from side to side on your head. Coming back to neutral there, having a little lift of each shoulder, just then replacing it back down. Squeezing your glutes and releasing 2 or 3 times. Giving them back to the mat. Wiggle of your fingers, wiggle of your toes, maybe a roll through your ankles. Shavasana is a place of stillness, but as we're moving on in a minute, we haven't really got time to be still. But if anybody would like now to take Shavasana and has the time, then please do. It's the way we should finish, but we haven't always got the time. So you can stay here and release and give as much as you can in Shavasana if you have that luxurious benefit of time. Otherwise, those of you that are going to move on, before we do, breathe in through your nostrils, using your Ujjayi breath again if you can. For 4, and then release for 6 through the nostrils. So if 6 is too low, do 5. If 3 and 5 is better for you here, but just make it a longer exhale. But try to find that little quiet Ujjayi breath as you do it. So remember to calm down, we extend the exhale, or we hold at the bottom of it, one or the other. And enjoy the last one here. So really releasing slowly that exhale, giving excess energy back out there. So that you feel a bit more balanced now to get on with your day. So those staying in Shavasana, please do. We're just about to finish. So roll over otherwise carefully. Take your time to come up back into Sukhasana or kneeling to finish, whichever you would rather. I'm going to go to kneeling for a change it up. Hands to heart center wherever we are. Thank you everybody. I hope you have received a lot from this class and thank you for giving me your time. Namaste.